The Nintendo Switch Pro Controller is probably one of Nintendo's best controllers they've ever made, if not the best. But I did get to use the Pro Controller 2 when I went to play the Nintendo Switch 2 in New York, and I've got a lot to tell you about this controller because I think after using that one, this is now probably going to be the best controller they've ever made. Make sure you guys check out the links in the description to our podcast and the Discord. There's a lot of other stuff down there, but let's jump right into this. The Switch 2 Pro Controller is amazing. Now, it takes everything from the original Pro Controller that we love. The ergonomics are great. Just overall, it's a very, very good design. Now, it does have some downsides. A lot of people really don't like the D-pad, and I guess we'll start there with the new Pro Controller. You're probably not gonna like this D-pad either. That is the one thing that's really unchanged on the new controller. I don't know for sure, obviously, but I would say that it's just the same D-pad dropped into this new controller. Because again, it is basically the same exact shape. Other than the fact that on the old Pro Controller, it kind of had the grips separate on the sides. This new one's kind of segmented from the sides all the way around to the grips around the bottom. That part of it is a different material. It's kind of like a soft touch material. If you've ever used extreme rate shells to change out your Joy-Cons or Pro Controllers, it's gonna feel like that. It's a little more premium than that though. It's not quite as soft touch as those because some of those actually kind of made me feel like I was gonna drop the controller. This one's more of a rubbery texture. So it does give you a lot more to hold on to there. It feels like it's really solid in your hands when you're using it. But they also made some other pretty big changes. One of those things is a 3.5mm jack on the bottom. That's something that should have been probably in the first one. It wasn't, but now with the integration with voice chat, it's gonna be right there so you can plug headphones into your Pro Controller. That's gonna be really nice, especially since they also included the C button that's gonna be right here. That obviously is the same button that's on the Joy-Con that's gonna let you control all your chat functions. That's added on the controller. Now the buttons, that is something I do wanna talk about because these buttons on here, they feel fine to me. I know a lot of people said they're kind of mushy. The new Pro Controller does feel a lot more along the lines of a mechanical button. Not quite the clickiness of a MOBA pad controller or something like that, but way more than these are. It's not nearly as spongy as these ones are. Same for the trigger buttons. These ones are kind of mushy. The other ones are a little bit more tactile. And speaking of buttons, they did add mappable buttons on the back. They are very nice. They're flat, so if you're not gonna use them, they don't stick out. You won't be like messing with them that much. They kind of just sink into the profile of the controller. So I do like that about it because back buttons aren't really something I use a ton. I know there are a lot of people out there that use them religiously at this point, especially for first-person shooters, things like mapping, jump to a button back there so you don't have to take your hands off the sticks. I think it's really cool that Nintendo implemented this in their regular controller. I know they call it a Pro Controller, but these are features we see on the higher end Xbox and PlayStation controllers that we're seeing in Nintendo's baseline controller. They don't have another tier of controller yet. They may put something out like that later on. I doubt it. Now, there's no word on how these buttons are mapped as of right now. My guess is it's gonna be in the menu where you sync the controllers. I'm sure you can do some type of button mapping there. I'm sure there's probably gonna be a very easy way to do it. But from what I saw, there wasn't a button on the controller to try to map the buttons back there. I think you have to do it in the software. I could be wrong, but I didn't see anything. But there is one thing about the new Pro Controller that I absolutely love, and honestly, I can't explain. It's the sticks. Now, with normal controllers, basically every controller, you get to the edge when you're pushing your stick, you get plastic on plastic. You just kind of hit the rim of where the stick sits there, and when you start to turn it, you can kind of feel that plastic rubbing against the other plastic. Over time, it starts to wear out. It gets a little gritty. Some companies have put metal sleeves on the inside of there. It's made it a ton better. It makes it much more comfortable to use. But something that Nintendo is doing here with the new Pro Controller, I really can't even explain it. It feels like the sticks don't touch anything. I couldn't really see what was going on under there. I know the little tower that holds up the stick tops is much thinner. It's very, very thin compared to basically every other controller I've seen. I held it up and I was trying to look to see if it was just not touching or there's something underneath that's keeping it from touching. I can't really tell, but it is so smooth. It's crazy how smooth it is. It doesn't even feel natural. It's like you're not touching anything. It's like it's just floating in the air, even when you get all the way to a full press. I really do not understand exactly what's happening with these sticks. They are not Hall effect sticks though. I know that was a big question that a lot of people were asking in some of the comments of the last video. The Pro Controller does not have Hall effect sticks either. Again, I talk about the Hall effect sticks in that video. I'll link that at the end of this one. But overall, I think the new Pro Controller is probably the nicest one Nintendo's ever made. This is probably the second nicest at this point. But this is going to probably be the controller I use. I don't see how any third party is going to replicate whatever they did with that, at least not for a while. This is clearly something new I've never seen in a controller, so the price being $10 more, you know, it seems like everything's a little bit more expensive with the Switch 2, you know, love it or hate it. It's gonna cost a little bit more, but in my opinion, after using it for Donkey Kong, Hogwarts Legacy, Cyberpunk 2077, Mario Kart World, I think it's well worth the extra $10. But guys, I got a couple more videos from my trip to New York right here. Make sure you click on one of those, whichever one you want. That is gonna do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like, make sure you are subscribed. We'll see you in the next one.